lesson 3 of basic chords on the arranger keyboard. In lesson 2 we learnt the C chord and the G chord in its 3 different inversions, and both of those chords appear in the key of C. Without going into too much detail about keys at the moment, just to say that C only uses the white notes. The key of C only uses the white notes. So today we're going to look at 2 other chords that appear in the key of C. We've got the chord of F, which is the only other major chord in the key of C, and then we're going to have a look at the D minor chord. Now you may remember that when we were using the single finger mode, we went into our fingering options and I changed the AI fingered to single finger, and that simply meant that you were able to do a chord with one finger. So one finger here is the key of C, the chord of C, and then yesterday we also looked at the chord of G. So one finger mode for the chord of F would simply be pressing the F. One finger mode for the chord of D is not of D minor is not just pressing a D, it's pressing a D and the black key to the left, which gives you a D minor. Now on some different keyboards, for example the Casio, I think a D minor is the D and the white one to the right, and I'm not sure on other arranged keyboards. So today we're going to be looking at the F chord and how it's made, and we're going to be looking at a D minor chord and how it's made. So let's just turn the accompaniment section off. So now all I've got is a piano. So if we look at the left hand part of the keyboard again, we're going to first of all look at the chord of F. And F is made up in exactly the same way as the others, in as much as it has 3 notes that make the chord. So the first chord in the first key, the first note in the first inversion will obviously be an F. Then we miss out the G and we go to the A, and then we miss out the B and we go to the C. So that gives us F, A, C. So you've got F and then A and then C. So if we play those together, you've got the chord of F. Like the other chords, there's 2 more inversions of F, so any combination of those 3 notes, F, A and C, anywhere on the keyboard will give you the chord of F. So for example, we could do A, C and F. So we've still got those same 3 notes, but we've gone to the second inversion. And then if we go to the third inversion, so we've started with the F, we started the A, now we're going to start with the C, so we can now do C, F and A. So you've got C, F and A. It's a little bit high up for a chord, so we'll come back down here to C, F and A. So just to go over that once more, the first inversion of an F chord is F, then A, then C. Second inversion is A, C and F, and I'm going to move down the keyboard a bit for the third inversion, which is C, F and A. We'll recap those again at the end. The second chord that we're going to look at is D minor. Okay. Now D major would contain a black note, and as I said, in the key of C there are no black notes. So to make D work in the key of C, we have to lower the third from a F sharp to an F, and that gives us the chord of D minor. Don't worry about the musical side of it or anything at the moment. Let's just remember how I learnt these, which is purely just learning shapes. So the shape of the D minor chord would be a D, an F, miss out the G and go to the A. So you've got D, F, A. Might just be interesting just at this point to listen to the difference between a D and a D minor, because you call D in the major form happy, and then if we lower this F sharp to the F, it sounds sad. So you've got happy, sad. But we're only worried about D minor at the moment, so we've got D, miss out the E, go to the F, miss out the G and go to the A. So you've got the D minor chord. And like the other chords that we've looked at, there's different inversions. So in this one we started with a D, this time we can start on the F. So we go F, miss out the G, go to the A. The other note that's missing is the D, so there's the D. So you've got D, F, A, D. And then the other inversion would be starting on the A, to the D, to the F. So that's A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, so let's just recap at what we've looked at today. We looked at the chord of F. So the F started with an F, A, C. Second inversion, A, C, F. Third inversion, C, F, A. And then we looked at the D minor. So you've got D, F, A, F, A, D, A, D, F. So that's 4 chords that we've learned 3 different versions for. So that's a lot of things to remember. But basically, if you just remember the notes that are contained within that chord, then it doesn't matter where you play them on the keyboard, you're still going to produce that chord. Thanks for listening.